Hello. Welcome back to the final episode of my best games of the Nintendo DS mini-series. I have two games for you today. One is a good game that I like a lot. The other one is a fantastic game that sits at the top of my personal top 10 list. We're going to start off with the B game. We're going to start off with the game that is not on the top 10 list, and we're going to finish this video with the Nintendo DS game that I consider to be my personal favourite of the entire platform. So, let's get started. So, of all the games that we've looked at so far in this series, let's see, we've had platformers, we've had minigame collections, we've had visual novels, we've had Metroidvanias, we've had survival horrors, we've had puzzle games, we've had open world action games, we've had rhythm games. We have yet to have a single RPG. And that's where this next game comes in. Not that we have to have an RPG, but so far of the games that I have shown you, none of them have been an RPG, so this is going to be a first. There are several RPGs for the DS that are really quite good. The World Ends With You. The DS version of Chrono Trigger is considered very good. There were those remakes of the first 3 Final Fantasy games that came out on the DS. Those are quite well respected. Can't think of any others but this next one. So let me boot this up and we'll talk more about it. Okay. Sega published. Platinum developed. That's right, this is a Platinum Games game, and it's also developed by a company called Nude. We'll talk more about that in a second. Let's just get past this intro. This intro is kind of unnecessary because it doesn't. Okay.
We're forbidden from traveling the gulfs of space.
But I'll let you watch it.
But I never stopped looking up and dreaming of the stars.
It's a sci-fi RPG.
Like a bird born knowing that someday it must fly.
I'm just going to put the box up. How am I supposed to read that, game? Why are you using the Japanese title graphic for you in the Western version? Interesting. So there's your box art. This game is called Infinite Space.
Men, a few quick shots and they're gone.
Jeez, lady. I don't even know you. This intro cutscene is actually quite long. It's like almost 2 minutes long. It goes.
Oh, that's gonna leave a scar.
Oh. You're a launcher, aren't you? Help me. I want you to take me through the gate.
What's your name?
Yuri.
I'd call you a zero-G dog, but you're more of a pup.
I'm sorry, there are no subtitles for this.
My ship's no match for the patrols. As I'm sure you saw.
You don't get it. I have to find a way off this rock.
Fine. Habit your way. We'll build you a ship.
What? A ship? Of my own?
The I-Cube and Exceed engine use the bridge effect to travel at 10 times the speed of light. They're the heart of the ship.
There's a lot of techno gobbledygook in this game that makes no sense.
Standing by.
Fly!
Yuri. Not the gate.
Turn back. This life was not meant for you. It's for your own good.
This is a standalone game, by the way, I should just say. It's not based on anything. There's no, like, pre-existing anime or manga or anything.
Oh, it should be you, Demid.
Wait, how did he shoot him through the...
Greatest zero-G dogs that ever lived.
I was! That's why I must stop you. It's a shame you're too young to see.
Yeah, so this is not based on a show. This was all animated just for this game.
C gamma negative. Trajectory 011.
Nah, just shoot him dead center. This'll knock him straight into Gruss and then some.
All cannons. Fire! I'm in space.
It's a really silly cutscene there. So yeah, this is Infinite Space. This is kind of a great sci-fi themed JRPG for the DS. I'm going to say it right now. It's not perfect. There are two major flaws with this game. Flaw number one, the story is garbage. Garbage! Even by JRPG standards, the story is like hyper overdramatic fluff that's like confusing at best and like off-putting at worst. It's not a good story. Characters aren't that interesting. The overall mystery of the game is not that interesting. The meat of this game comes from the actual like mechanics of the game itself. So let's start a new game. Okay. Mysterious figures looking for someone. Pfft. Check out this dude's shoulder pads. Holy shit. Like, you know, they do say wearing large shoulder pads gives you a commanding presence. This dude's taking that like way too far. if shoulder pads give you like more of a commanding presence, then I'm gonna wear the biggest shoulder pads. Anti-pirate patrol. So this is the battle tutorial. We're going to say yes because the battle system in this game is a little bit complex, but really cool. Okay, actions that can be taken during battle are displayed on the touchscreen. These commands are executed by touching them. Duh. So, battle system entirely touchscreen based. Okay. So you see on the top of the top screen there's a bar with a blinking green icon and a blinking orange icon. That's your ship and the enemy ships. And you can change your distance, your range from the ships by tapping back and forwards on the bottom screen. And that's important because certain weapons have certain ranges. And so you have to move in and out of effective range. So the command gauge, this is basically your action gauge. As time progresses, you earn, your gauge will slowly fill up, and depending on how full that gauge is, depends on what actions you can do in battle. So, yeah, no shit game. This game, despite the battle system being quite complex, the battle tutorial does still manage to somehow over-explain itself a little bit. So, yeah. If you want to use a standard attack, you need the gauge to fill up halfway into the yellow zone. In the green zone, all you can really do is use an evasive attack. So, and sometimes when you fire an attack, you get a little cutscene, which is cool. I like how there's like a duplicate of what's being displayed on the top screen on the command display on the bridge in the bottom screen. This game's got a really, really cool, like presentation.
Eliminate. Target's inflaton reading is diffusing into the delta coordinates.
Okay. Yep. Each command has its own unique effects and cost. So if you manage to let your command bar fill all the way up into the red zone, you can use a special kind of attack known as barrage, which is a more powerful attack, but there are downsides to it. It's potentially 3 times as strong as a regular attack, so it uses twice the energy to use a barrage, but it can do up to 3 times the damage. However, the drawback is the accuracy of a barrage attack is slightly lower than a normal attack, so you're more likely to miss. And also, barrage attacks are easy to dodge. They're very susceptible to a dodge command. If the enemy is performing a dodge maneuver, the barrage will never hit. So there's a risk to it, but, So yeah. However, the dodge is not completely useful itself. The dodge is really only effective against the barrage. Trying to dodge against a standard weapon attack will actually make that standard attack more accurate and more likely to hit you. So dodges are only useful against barrages. So When an enemy fleet fires a normal attack at you, you have no choice but to tank it and or hope that it misses, normally. Yep. The green line between us is our effective weapon range. Enemies don't have to be within effective range in order to hit them, but weapon accuracy will be greatly reduced if they are outside of effective range. Bring them into effective range, and then launch a barrage.
Enemy movement projected and gravity radiometry corrected. Burst limiters disabled. Ship dispersion pattern. All guns, open fire. The target is the enemy ship in the forward quadrant. Chew it out and spit it out. Enemy unit 1. Eliminated. Target's inflaton reading is diffusing into the delta coordinates.
You can position ships in a formation, which changes how likely they are to hit the enemy, also how likely enemy ships are able to hit them. Ships placed at the front of a formation are more likely to take hits than ships placed at the back, but that's kind of obvious. Those rules are also the same for enemy fleets as well. You're more likely to hit enemy ships that are placed at the front of their formation than ships placed at the back of their formation. Alright.
Let's give them something to mull over, boys. All guns, prepare to fire. Enemy maintain the same distance and speed. Movement pattern projection completed.
I do like the presentation of this game, and I like the extra,
36.
the extra effort they go to for, battle cutscenes. It looks cool, but after you've seen the same cutscene, 10 times in a row, it gets really old. So you can, if you want to, miss, hit, miss, 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 miss. Oh wow, what a whiff. If you want to, you can just tap the touchscreen to skip cutscenes if that becomes annoying, which thank God, because if you could not skip these cutscenes, this game would be torturous to play. Because you do this shit a lot in this game.
3 enemy vessels eliminated. Targets inflaton readings are diffusing.
You can just skip that, it's fine.
Calculations complete.
I like how the bridge of his ship is shaped like a dragon head. That's pretty cool.
Prepare to bombard the target quadrant. Fire! Enemy Unit 2. Destroy.
Okay, they've got one ship left. Skip that. This is a tutorial, so we are not going to die.
Let's give them something to mull over, boys.
Skip that.
Enemy Unit 1. Eliminated. Target's inflaton reading is diffusing into the Delta coordinate.
Alright, that's the tutorial over. Meanwhile, somewhere else nearby, so now we're immediately launched into another battle with a much smaller ship. We can at any time hit the little camera button at the bottom left or bottom right corner of the screen to change the camera view. And I like that because we're in a much smaller ship, the our cockpit is a lot smaller.
Calculations completed for enemy course projection and range delta.
Get ready to fire for effect. Let loose on the target quadrant.
All guns.
Fire again. Skip the cutscene. That should be enough.
Enemy Unit 1. Eliminated.
Oh, and finally, we meet our main character. So, our main dude is a kid called Yuri. He dreams of being a space explorer, but for some reason, the laws on his planet restrict space travel to everyone but a few people. So, he's not allowed to leave the surface of his world. But dude is a dreamer. And we get a late title card. Yeah, this whole scene plays out a little bit differently than it did in the animated intro when we first started the game. So, you know, I guess they must have commissioned that that animation before they had finalized what the in-game cutscene would be. So, whoops. Creepy kid just comes out of nowhere and starts staring at you, doesn't even say anything. All right. So he has contacted she's basically a mercenary and is paying her to take him off world with her. And apparently he's a skilled ship mechanic, so... That's a lie. We find out later in the game that he does in fact have family, but he doesn't mention them here for whatever reason. I don't know if that's intentional misleading or if the writers just forgot. Hard to tell. Mysterious, shadowy figures. So for some reason, people who live in space are referred to as zero-G dogs, which is a cool name, but it's also kind of a silly name. Are we scared? Yeah, or we don't know. Let's say I don't know. Alright, so the game begins. So yeah, this was a platinum game. This is one of Platinum's earliest games. I think this was either their... So this game came out in 2009. 2009 in Japan. 2010 in Europe and America. So... And weirdly enough, even though this is a Platinum game, this is not on Platinum Games' Wikipedia page. Which is strange. Because big old fat Platinum logo when you boot this game up, because I mean, Sega didn't make this game themselves, they just published it. I think this was a joint project between Platinum and Nude Maker. But Platinum's logo came first, which suggests that Platinum was the bigger decision maker of the two, shall we say. So it's you can probably suggest that maybe Nude Maker was the contracted developer here, not Platinum, but you know, for some reason not on Platinum's Wikipedia page, but it's on Nude Maker's Wikipedia page. Strange. Nude Maker. Not a development team you see mentioned anywhere anymore. They are most famous as the development studio behind the classic Steel Battalion games for the original Xbox. Yeah, those Steel Battalion games, the ones that came with the massive control panel controller. But apart from that, they haven't really made much. They've made 2 Steel Battalion games. A couple of RPGs, including this one, and a horror game by the name of Nightcry, which actually sunk the studio, I believe. So, oh god, Nightcry, woof. If you ever look up Nightcry, it's a game that is... So, it's supposedly a creation of... So, some of the lead creatives behind the original Clock Tower games for the PlayStation 1. You don't know what the Clock Tower games are. They're like a series of, I guess, cult survival horror games. They're not very good. Well, the third one's okay. The third one is okay. The first 2, garbage. Although the very first Clock Tower game kind of gets away with it a little bit more because of how early it was. It was I think it was originally... So it started off originally as a Super Nintendo game, a very late Super Nintendo game, and then got remade a year later for the PlayStation. But the PlayStation one is the one that everyone knows about, because that's the version that made it west. The Super Nintendo original never left Japan. But yeah, because it was such an early survival horror game, like it's pre-Silent Hill, pre-Resident Evil. I'll say it came out 95, 96, so it was like very early survival horror. And a lot of people give it a pass because of how early it was. And so it's a shit game. If you ever decide to play it, very poorly designed, but it was kind of a very early example of survival horror. So, whatever. But yeah, some of the lead creatives behind those games made a spiritual successor called Nightcry, and Nude Maker was responsible for making that, and that game is shit. So I guess in some ways it really is the spiritual successor to Clock Tower. But yeah, that game's on Steam and it is garbage. Anyway, back to this game. So let's go to set course to, was it Bagut? This is the map screen. the game is split up into about a dozen or so sectors like this, and you can explore the map by zooming in and out. So we've only got one system to go to right now. Let's go to Bagut. Change the camera view, change the screen display. Speed up time. No escape. So we cannot avoid this battle, we have to fight. So let's hope that tutorial worked out, eh? Okay. Skip the cutscenes for now. Thank God you can skip the cutscenes, because oh my god, it would be so insufferable if you could not. They're cool, they're really cool cutscenes, but you only really want to watch them once every dozen or so times. Maybe if you want to see a new attack animation or something, you'll let the cutscene play out, but yeah, it's... I'm going to reduce the size of the windows again, just so you can get a sense for how the game looks on on DS hardware, because the game, like many other games, makes use of the gap between the screens. So... yeah, so even though this is the far future, feudalism has made a comeback, I guess. So you've got like very, very powerful rich lords and like the lowly peasants who have no rights at all. Ooh, speed up. There we go. So yeah, every time you arrive at a spaceport, your ship gets automatically repaired for free of charge. Repairing your ship doesn't cost you any money, which is really generous. Alright. So let's go down to the planet. Via the space elevator and go visit the tavern, because for some reason there is no tavern on the space station. You have to go down to the planet's surface. So we've got some options here. Let's talk to the bartender. Ask about a job. No jobs. Get information. Almost every planet has a tavern that you can go to and ask around. So, you know, even though we are in the far future and this is extremely hard sci-fi, standard JRPG tropes still apply. Or standard RPG tropes in general, not just JRPG tropes. The whole go to tavern and talk to people thing is something that's been in RPGs since the 70s. Check out my puzzle box. Oh my god, don't open it. He told me to never open it or I'll summon the Cenobites. No, it does. This puzzle box in this game, this box, this artifact that he has, does look a lot like the Lament configuration from Hellraiser. It's uncanny, but it is in fact an alien artifact that was left to him. It's called an epitaph. So, the plot is that supposedly whoever has possession of all of the epitaphs will like have like, you know, some extra, you know, either something really good will happen or it'll reveal the location of a fantastic treasure or whatever. But yeah, so there are people all over the galaxy that are actively hunting these things. Yeah. He who unravels their mysteries will have the power to change the universe. Uh-oh. Maybe don't take out your fabulously valuable artifact out in public, moron. What do we do? Do we try and reason with him, or we just go on the attack? Go on the attack. Let's go. I guess guns are rare in this universe? I guess not many people have them. Which is strange, because spaceships are aplenty. Oh, she gave you a new set of clothes. She just happened to have on her. She just happened to have a uniform that would fit a small teenage boy on her. Sure, okay. Oh, here's a sword too. It's a fake lightsaber. So, not just, as you probably just saw there, not just the ships have stats, but so do individual characters, and that's something that we'll get into a little bit more soon. So, anyone else we can talk to here? Okay, this guy again. So now we threaten him with a sword. He's giving me a tip now. We may have to talk to the guards who guard the exit to the system. in order for them to let us through. By talk, I mean bribe. Talk to the old woman. Old woman, a big fan of the feudal lord. Alright, so let's get out of here. Let's travel to a different system. Fast forward. Oh. Interesting. The feudal lord is sending out a communication specifically trying to talk to this peasant child who up until like a few hours ago was stuck on a planet. Yeah, weird, right? It's almost as if our main character is like has like a secret past that he doesn't know about, right? It's like the sci-fi equivalent of a swineherd prince. Oh hey, it's your not sister. It's your sister that you didn't tell anyone about. Remember how you said that you didn't have any family and all your family was dead? Yeah. Yeah, this story's not particularly great. There's a lot of cliched tropes in this story. It's just not that inventive. The most interesting part about this game is like the mechanics and customizing your ships and recruiting crew members to boost the abilities of your ships, and the whole story stuff, not that interesting. What's that? Feudalism? Not good after all? Who could have thought? Be prepared to do anything. Alright. So we're in our new planet, Hapside. Let's take the space elevator down. Go to the tavern. Get information. Thanks, Windows, for that. Didn't really need that to happen. Alright. Alright, we're going to say yes. We're going to move along. We're going to buy a ship. We need a destroyer-class ship. Of course, the ship we've currently got is too small and piddly to have any chance. But where are we going to get the money? So we need to go to a planet called Troplets. A lot of the names in this game are really stupid. Torapets. There we go. Okay. Oh, by the way, here's 10 grand. Oh, well, actually, about that, may have sold something incredibly precious to you to get that money. Whoops. What's more important, a strange piece of metal that does nothing, or you know, the life of your sister / not sister? So, she sold your precious alien artifact. You've got the money to buy a ship. Be happy. Okay, we've got to go buy some blueprints. Then we take the blueprints to a shipyard. And that shipyard will build any ship that we own the blueprints for. So, we're going to take the elevator down. So we're going to go to the shipping company, and we've got a choice of 2 different blueprints. They're both roughly the same in terms of stats, but the Otlichny or the Pericop. The Otlichny is slightly hardier. It's got slightly better armor, and the Pericop has slightly better engines and agility. So I'm going to go with this guy. So we bought the blueprints to build those ships, and now we go back up the elevator to the shipyard. We're going to buy one, and here you can see the stats for a standard ship of this class. You've got anti-air stats, so effectiveness against fighters, anti-ship, effectiveness against other capital ships / stations, cruising speed, battle speed. I think mobility. I think mobility governs how quickly the command gauge, the command bar, fills during battle. So the higher this number, the quicker that bar goes up. Its armor rating, its durability, which is actually its HP. Durability is HP. Effective attack range. Livability. Right, that's got something to do with crew. I forget what livability governs. But it's fine, it's fine. It's not that important. And fighters, but this ship has no fighter bay, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to buy one of these. And we can name it. So every ship you purchase or build, you can give a unique name. So we're going to give it a name. We are going to call this ship... Oh, it's not using... I'm about to use my keyboard then. What am I doing? It's a DS game. Duh. I'm going to call it... the Blue Dragon. Done. It's a good name. It's a good name for a ship. The Blue Dragon. Okay. So now we technically have 2 ships. We've got the Daisy, which is Nia's ship. And then now we've got the slightly more chunky one, the Blue Dragon, which is a destroyer class. So we have the ability to remodel a ship from this screen as well. So we're going to buy some stuff. We're going to buy some weapons. We're going to upgrade the weapons because the standard weapons that they give you are shitty. Let's have a look. Let's upgrade them to... D lasers. Sorry. AS lasers. DAS lasers. I don't know what the D stands for here. All I know is that they are better. Ever so slightly better. So yeah, standard laser. So we've got a medium and a small. The medium is firepower 90 times 1. If we upgrade it, it'll be 70 times 2. So it fires 2 shots. Both can do 70 damage, which is overall better than a single shot which does 90. Okay, so equip, and we're going to do the same with the smaller laser as well. Okay. Yes, we are done equipping weapons. And we're going to equip modules as well. So this is the meat of the game, when you you build ships and you can outfit them with different subsystems, different capabilities. It's really cool. This is the part of the game I really like. You can customize ships and change their weapons, give them different capabilities. So a cargo hold will generate passive income as you travel from planet to planet. So every time you dock in another space station, you will get a little bit of money, not much, but just a little bit. It's like a constant little drip feed of money all the time, constantly. Just buy one of those, and so you are governed here by this grid. You can only place a subsystem or a room on the ship where it'll fit within this grid. There we go. We have enough crew cabins, I believe. This is crew cabin, crew cabin, crew cabin. So we're going to move the crew cabins over here. We've got a fire control room, which you can see slightly improves our combat capabilities. So our accuracy goes up. Anti-ship accuracy goes up by +2. Anti-air accuracy goes up by +1. It should be anti-fighter, but this is called anti-air, which is might just be a localization error, because you can't really call a spaceship an aircraft. It doesn't, not really, even if it is a fighter, you know, so but whatever. I can look past that. It's a very, very minor, very minor inaccuracy there, but whatever. So we can equip one of these to increase our accuracy. Now you might think it's a red block, so the red block must go in a red zone. That's not true. The only room that must, and I do mean must, be placed in a red zone on the grid is the bridge. As long as it's not a bridge, you can place it anywhere on the ship. So that works. Yeah, so you absolutely must place a bridge in the red zone, and you must place engines in the yellow zone. There may be other mandatory placement locations for other things, but I can't think of any right now. So we'll go for a radar room, which also boosts our attack range. So we're going to go for one of those. Let's place that there. What else we got? I don't think equipping more than one cargo hold increases the amount of passive income. I think whether you have one cargo hold or 4 of them, I think you still get the same amount. per ship. I think you only need to have one cargo hold per ship. So I think putting 2 cargo holds on one ship doesn't work. They don't stack. I believe. So you should really only be buying 1 per ship maximum. So back. Yes. And check out. So we've got a good little ship there. It certainly is. Okay, and also she's an actual crew member now. So this game has named crew that you can recruit as the story continues. You go to different, some of them are like mandatory, like scripted crew members. A lot of them are optional that you can recruit via like side quests, or you can hire them from a, from specific locations on certain planets. And different crew members, have different strengths and, you know, weaknesses. They're best placed in certain positions on your ship. So if we go to edit crew, we can actually place, you can see Yuri has stats, and this is where your experience points come in. The ships themselves don't level up. The ships have fixed stats that are dependent entirely on the class of ship and what subsystems, weapons and subsystems you have installed on those ships. The only part of your fleet that levels up is the crew. So Nia here is level 4. She's kind of decent at most things. Yuri, because he's level 1, he's really only good at maintenance. Everything else is kind of shit, but that's fine. He will level up quickly as the game progresses, so it's not a big problem. So we're going to place... So Yuri is already positioned as the captain. You cannot put him anywhere else. Nia is going to be assigned as our first officer. So, okay. And that will grant like stat boosts to our fleet. Even though we have 2 ships right now, we cannot fight a battle with more than 1 ship. There is special training that your character has to go through to enable him to be able to command a fleet of more than 1 ship, and we are nowhere near finding the first one of those yet. So even if you have multiple ships in your fleet, you can still only use 1 in a battle right now. A lot of people get confused by that. You see a lot of that on message boards for this game. Like, how do I use both of my ships? What's going on? I thought this game lets you use a whole fleet during a fight. And it's like, it does, but you have to reach a certain point in the story, and you have to talk to certain people in certain taverns in order to be able to do that, because your character has to go through training in order to do that as a commander. So I think we're done. So let's get out of here. We've got our ship. Hang on. Let's confirm that we have actually equipped the correct ship. Yeah, we have, yeah. So yeah. The Blue Dragon is set as our primary ship, which is what we want. That is also the screen where you can customize the formation of your fleet. But since we only have 1 ship, 1 usable ship, we not really anything for us to do there. So let's go up here to this asteroid belt. It's just an asteroid belt. Nothing special. Let's go back to Hapsel. Like again, our bridge display has changed again to a medium-sized bridge. Speed up. Okay. Okay. The guy mentioned that there were guards guarding the gate. So we've got to go to the tavern and talk to some guards, I believe. There you go, the gate guards. Give us a little something, something, like a bribe. Give him something like 100G. You don't actually technically have to do this, but you know. So I have technically just wasted 100 gold there, but it's a fun thing to do because I'm showing the game off, you know. It's like, yeah, you can talk to those guards to bribe them to let you through the gate. Sure, that's a thing you can do. Right, not going to go to the void gate though. We're going to go back to hang on. Depart. Repesque. That's how I'm going to choose how to... Okay, yeah. Repesque. That's how I'm going to choose to pronounce that planet's name. Alright, and I think we're going to encounter our first boss. So, the number of people who bounce off of this boss is incredible. This game is criticized a lot for being for having a very harsh difficulty curve, and the game is not hard, it just doesn't explain itself super well. If the game was better at explaining itself, people wouldn't have such a difficult time getting past certain fights. I'm going to increase the size of these screens again so you get a better view. Psych, I'm not here to give myself in, I'm here to kill you, motherfucker. Oh, I see. That's why he's jealous. He's jealous of the youth. He's mad because he's old now and he can't do things anymore. And he sees all these young kids going off and having fun and you know, wanting to do cool things that he can't do anymore because he's so fucking old. What a shithead. I can't stand you teenagers being all ambitious and all. Like, fucking hell, man. Jesus Christ. Don't be mad you can't do it anymore. Be happy it happened. Jesus Christ. I hate the young because they're so young. Like, fucking hell, man. You've got no choice. Right, so he's got 3 ships. We want to make sure we select the ship that is closest to us. And I thought he was going to do a barrage. I anticipated it, so I selected dodge. Because we've selected dodge, it will now miss us. It's a guaranteed miss. Okay. So we'll make sure we select the ship that's closest to us, at the front of the pack. And we take out the one at the front. If you try and attack the main ship first, you will almost always miss. And it will, the battle will just grind you down until you get destroyed. So you want to make sure you take out the two lesser ships first. And this will activate the next phase of the boss fight.
Unit 2. Eliminated.
There's a special attack. It's weird in this game how some of the dialogue requires you to press a button or tap the screen to continue, and some of it is just automatically auto continues. It's I think auto continues a little bit too fast, because sometimes you're halfway through reading it and it changes. It's like, oh, okay, thanks game. Okay, forwards. Dodge. He's probably going to use that again. Now that he's unveiled his cannon, he will. So the special attack works pretty much the same as the barrage attack does. So as long as you're in dodge mode, you will always dodge it. But normal will hit you. Oh dear. So this is going to hit us, but luckily it's not going to do that much damage. So we're just going to use a normal attack. I think we hit him 5 or 6 times. The ship is destroyed, I believe. I think it's about 5 or 6 times. Dodge, he's gone red. You can see his command phase in the top right corner of the top screen. You see the silhouette around his ship turns red. That lets you know what his current command meter is at. So you see it's green right now. Okay, hit dodge again. Let our meter build. As long as you're prioritizing the dodge, you're safe. Oh, miss. Jesus Christ. Okay. Oh, it's because we're too close to him. One of our weapons is actively, like, not in effective range. So you've got to keep an eye on that. If you're too close to an enemy, some of your weapons can't hit him. If you're too far away from the enemy, some of your weapons can't hit him. So you've got to check those 2 little blue boxes above your ship's HP bar. Little HP bar. When they're green, your weapons are in effective range. When they're red, your weapons are not in effective range. Or rather, they can't be used at that range. But they're both blue, so they should both fire now. See, we fired both of them at him this time.
All guns, prepare to fire for effect.
we hit him once, we missed him another. That's fine, that's fine. Oop, dodge, he's gone red, so he's probably going to use his special now. Yep. The special is bad news. It'll do a lot of damage if it hits you. But it is incredibly predictable, so...
Target locked. All guns, prepare to fire for effect.
Ah. Oh, please. Come on.
All guns, check firing tables and calculate course projection.
Hit him, please. Good. And he's down. That's it. That's the first boss down. He's not that hard. He's not that hard. You just need to prioritize dodging and check your weapon ranges.
Eliminate. Targets in plate reading confusing.
We actually took out the main boss before his little dude, actually. I've never done that before. I've never managed to take out the boss before his lesser ship. That's kind of amazing. I've never done that before. That's... Huh. I forgot this other small ship existed.
Enemy unit 2. Eliminate. Targets in plate reading.
Yeah, so normally you would take out both of those two small ships first and then focus on the big one, but I forgot about the second small ship. Whoops. And then Yuri has leveled up. He's now level 2, so his stats have gone up, which in turn increase the stat boost he supplies to the ship. So, and you can see here from the battle results on the top screen, we have earned 1,300 gold, 95 experience points, and 36 FAP. That is what that says. FAP. FAP stands for fame points. We've earned 36 fame. Doesn't mean anything else. It's a very unfortunate way of abbreviating fame points. But okay, sure. Okay, yeah. Very, very touching reunion with your not sister. Spoilers for later in the story, but she's not really his sister. Stares at them. Okay. Sure she is. Absolutely. Can't you see the resemblance? See how our hair colour and eye colour is exactly the same? Oh, I've just happened to have another one. Where are you keeping these, Nia? Do you just happen to have a box full of different sized bodysuits for like random people? So now that that's over, I think we're gonna we're an hour and 20 minutes in. We're gonna swap over to the second game. But yeah, this game is neat. It's neat. The story is garbage, but the actual RPG part of it is really cool. The setting is cool. The presentation is very, very good. This is the forgotten Platinum game. Still don't know why it's not on Platinum's Wikipedia page. You think Platinum's a company as popular as Platinum Games would have a very accurate and up-to-date Wikipedia page, but you know, it's not on there for some reason. This game is cool. It's very grindy. This whole first chapter is kind of not representative of like how grindy this game actually is. From this point on, you kind of have to do a shitload of random encounters in order to grind money and experience so you can buy more ships, outfit them with better weapons, better subsystems, for you to even have a chance at a lot of the later like bosses. Some of the later bosses are crazy. They are so hard. They are so hard if you are not like equipping the absolute best shit that you possibly can. And in order to do that, you have to grind for hours in order to afford that stuff. So this game is good. 2 major flaws. Story is shit. Grindy as hell. But apart from that, I like it a lot. It's a cool game. It's a really cool game. Anyway. Close that. And let's move on to our last game of the video and last game of the series. I may do DS stuff again in the future, but I cannot tell you when that may be. It might be years before I do DS stuff again. But, you know, I will keep this whole template and background animation ready for when I do decide to come back and maybe visit another game at some point. But yeah, let's see now. So this next game came out roughly around the same time as Infinite Space, actually. Hang on. Oh, just one moment. Just one moment. Oh, God damn it. There we go. So yeah, Infinite Space came out in March 2010. This next game came out in, at least in Europe, in March 2010. According to this, March 2009 in Japan, March 2010 in Europe, and May 2010 in North America. So, and this game was also re-released on the Wii U's Virtual Console, which is cool because this game is fantastic and I love this game, and it is my personal favourite game for the original DS. Here we go. Some people might be a little bit surprised about what this game is. Some of you may not have even heard of it. But please remember, my personal top 10. I get to choose whatever I want. If you decide it's not a game that you like particularly that much, good for you. But peace be with you. This is Picross 3D. And this is one of the best puzzle games ever made. Oh, I haven't been doing this, but I completely forgot. I do have a physical copy of Infinite Space. My original copy of Infinite Space. And I do have my original copy of Picross 3D. So everything I've shown you in this series, I do own physical copies of. So I do not feel bad about using an emulator at all, because I already bought this shit, and so I've considered my tax to be paid. So we're going to start a new game. Welcome to Picross 3D. So I love normal Picross. Picross is one of those like puzzles that I can just very easily just kind of sink into for several hours, just do puzzle after puzzle after puzzle and just lose track of time doing it. Picross 3D is an evolution of Picross that is incredible. It's like, oh my god, it works so well. You've taken this concept of a 2D puzzle, normally like, you know, a horizontal and vertical grid on a 2D plane, and you color in and cross out squares depending on what the numbers say around the edge of the grid. So this, I'm amazed, like, it works as well as it does in 3 dimensions. It's incredible. It's, oh, you have to see it. You have to see it. Sign your name on the space on the touchscreen. Touch one of the coloured cubes on the right to set the colour for your save file. So let's go here. Here we go. Please enjoy playing Picross 3D. I will. So, here we go. So, you've got standard puzzles that the game gives to you. You have the gallery of completed puzzle models, because you're not just uncovering pictures, you're uncovering 3D models. And these are like very simple rudimentary 3D models made out of cubes, like this little dog in the background that you're seeing here. They're all kind of like that. Or you can create your own puzzles and share them with friends. And you can download new puzzles from the internet. I have downloaded, I believe, all of the extra puzzles that Nintendo put out for this game, because like Professor Layton, like the Professor Layton games, Nintendo, or, well, the developer of this game put out lots and lots of like extra puzzles as free DLC that you just have to sign into a wireless network and download to your game. And I did that for my copy, so my physical copy has 100% of the official free DLC puzzles stored on the cartridge, card, whatever. Enter a nickname. Puzzles you create in my Picross will have this nickname listed as the creator, so... So yeah, unfortunately we can no longer download puzzles. Although I bet there is a probably a content patch you can get from various websites that you can apply over, you know, to the ROM in order to enable access to those puzzles. I'm sure someone somewhere has saved that data. Let's back out and go to the regular puzzles. Let me show you why this game is in my #1 spot. Touch an item to display its contents on the top screen. Touch it again to select it. So we're going to go through the tutorial just to help you get used to the mechanics. Picross 3D is a puzzle game in which you break small cubes off a larger block using hint numbers as a guide. So this game uses a combination of touchscreen and D-pad. Each block has a shape hidden inside it. Playing the game is easy. Use the hints on the cubes to determine which ones aren't part of the underlying shape, then break them off. Like normal Picross, you're using the numbers displayed on the edge of the columns to give you clues as to how many blocks you need to keep and where those blocks are. You're using like logic. It's a logic puzzle, essentially. Numbers indicate how many cubes in a given row or column will remain after all unneeded cubes have been removed. Hints on top and bottom of the blocks refer to vertical columns. Hints on the sides of the block refer to rows of cubes along the block's width. Hints on the front and back of the block refer to rows of cubes along the block's depth. It works so well. It's incredible. It's amazing. Like, as far as I know, Picross has been around. When was the first Picross game? I want to say it was the Super Nintendo or the Game Boy. Okay, so Picross is the name of Nintendo's franchise, I believe. It is a word that is actively... It is a trademark that is owned by Nintendo, I believe. The official non-trademarked term for this kind of puzzle is a nonogram. Hang on. See, there's Mario's Super Picross. When did that come out? That was a... Okay, no, it was a Game Boy game. Nintendo first published Picross game came out in 1995 for the original Game Boy, so these games have been going for a while. And then a Super Nintendo game came out the same year called Mario's Super Picross. And then they've been putting them out on the... There's a ton of them for the Super Nintendo that only came out in Japan. There was a standard Picross game for the DS, published by Nintendo, just called Picross DS. And then 2 years after that, we have in the original Japanese release of Picross 3D in 2009. So interesting how Nintendo's Picross franchise went from the Super Nintendo straight to the DS. Like, there was no Game Boy Color Picross game, there was no Game Boy Advance Picross game, no like N64 or GameCube Picross game. It went straight from Super Nintendo to DS. Interesting. Turn the block around, slide the stylus to touch the screen. On the touchscreen, give it a go. So yeah, we can position the stylus on the bottom screen and slide it to reposition our view of the block. Oh, okay. Solving. Indicates there's only one usable block in that column. There's no way to tell which of the cubes should be kept and which should be removed. Here's another hint. This this 0 indicates that none of the cubes in this column are part of the underlying shape. The one big difference between Picross 3D and regular Picross is that in regular Picross, every single column and row has numbers. In Picross 3D, the game hides information from you, so it doesn't give you all of the information. You see, it only has numbers visible on, shall we, for example, one column, not all three columns. And so, unlike regular Picross, the game does hide information, which some people are not a fan of. Picross purists are like, what do you mean you're hiding information? That's shitty. So yeah. So, in order to remove blocks, you press up on the D-pad. So yeah, you can see. So holding up on the D-pad changes us into hammer mode, with which we can click on blocks to remove them. So that entire row we keep. So we do not want to get rid of those shapes. So we can paint them, we can mark them as blocks that we definitely want to keep. And to do that, we hold right on the D-pad to enter like paint mode. Yeah. Once a block has been marked or painted, it cannot be accidentally removed. It's to stop you from accidentally, you know, accidentally mistapping on a block. If you mark a cube by mistake, follow the same procedure to unmark it. So very easy to understand. Very easy to understand. Emulator does something a little bit weird there, where the top screen goes pink, bright pink, between screens. All right. Let's solve these example puzzles before we get into the main game. All right. Give it a go. Remove all the cubes in this column by touching them. Okay, so we're going to go to this. Get rid of those. One of the cubes in the column is part of the underlying shape. We can't tell which one it is at the moment because there's not enough information. So let's look for some other clues. This column has a 5, so we know we can keep all 5 in that column. And that 4 lets us know we can keep that entire row. So mark those. And because we've marked these, we now have enough information to figure out which cubes that we can knock away, get rid of. So it's more complicated than standard Picross, but it's not that much more complicated. If you can understand regular Picross, you can understand this. This is not that hard. The letter L is the hidden shape. Hooray. Yep, don't accidentally delete the wrong cube or it'll count as a miss. It will affect your score, and you do need your combined score of your completed puzzles is what unlocks future puzzles. So, all right, let's solve these basic puzzles. Let's go. Okay, so we can tell that this row is entirely good, and this column, because there's a 5, is entirely good, which means we can get rid of these. It's the letter T. Yeah, these very early tutorial puzzles are not the hardest things. This game has a ton of personality, a ton of charm. It's got good music, it's just got good vibes all around. I have spent untold numbers of hours playing this game. Okay, let's solve this one. So this one's a little bit different. So 0 and a 0, so we know we can get rid of this column and this row, which means we can paint these 4. This one says a 3, so we know for a fact that these two must be part of the blocks that we can keep, but we don't know if the top block or the bottom block is part of those three. We don't have enough information to colour in the 2 or the 1, so let's continue looking around. This is a 4. This second row is a 3, but we know because these two were already coloured in, it must be that one. And therefore we can safely get rid of those remaining blocks. It's easy to understand and it's incredibly satisfying. Oh, the act of knocking away the blocks is a very satisfying feeling to it. It's like, oh. Okay, final one. Here we go. So let's just go ahead and solve this one. This one's actually got some depth to it this time, so... Okay, so we can get rid of these two. Was that a pack of cigarettes? It's a pack of cigarettes, isn't it? No, it's a mobile phone. Okay. Don't be silly, Nintendo game's not going to have cigarettes in it. This game came out 10 years before it probably would have. Okay, so we've done all of the basics. So, a circle hint. So, we're not going to worry about that. So, we'll get into it as we do the easy puzzles. So let's go. So, I'll explain. When you get a number hint on a column or a row that has a circle around it, that means that the number of columns in that column or row are not connected. So there are 2 blocks in this row that need to be coloured in, but they are not together. There is a gap between them. So that is what that means. That I think the circle means that they are split up into 2 separate groups. So if this was a 3 with a circle round it, that means it will be 2 groups. A group of 1 and a group of 2, you know. There's another variation to this where it's they call it a square hint. A square hint suggests that the group of blocks in that column or row has been split up into 3 groups. So, for example, if it was a number 3 with a square around it, that meant that the 3 blocks would all be completely separate. So it would be 3 groups of 1. That you understand. So, knock that one out. We can colour these in because we know for a fact that these 3 have to be part of it since this is a 4. Because this is a 3 and this is a 5 wide row, this centre block must be part of the 3. Because this is a 1 and this is already coloured in, we can go ahead and get rid of this entire column. So, the 2 with the circle round it, because we know that the 2 blocks must be separated, we know for a fact that both of these blocks cannot be part of the shape, which means that one of them must be this block over here. So we colour that in for now. We filled in all 4 blocks of this column, so get rid of that, which means we can fill in another one here, which means we can get rid of these 4. Which means because we only have 2 left here, we can now go ahead and colour this in, which means we can now get rid of this one, which means we can colour that in, which means we can get rid of these 3. And we're done. We are still in the extremely basic stage of this game. it gets so much more complicated. The difficulty goes up massively. The difficulty goes up very slowly, but it goes up a lot. The harder puzzles in this game are intense. And so you are judged, your end score for a puzzle is based on two things. It's based on how long you took to solve the puzzle and how many mistakes you made. But because we didn't make any mistakes and we solved it in less than 5 minutes, we get 3 stars. Alright, let's solve this next one. So, because this is 1 wide, we can colour these in and get rid of that. Okay, we know for a fact that this is a regular 2, which means both coloured blocks are next to each other, which means it must be either the one above the red block or the one directly below the red block. So we can go ahead and get rid of these 2. We can go ahead and colour all of these in. Interesting. Okay. This 3 with a circle, there are only 3 blocks left in this entire row, so we can go ahead and colour all of those in. There's only 4 left in this entire row, so we can go ahead and colour all of those in. Which means we can, because this is a 2, we can colour this in and get rid of these 2. There's only 4 left, so colour those in. Interesting. So, because this is a 3, and we know that therefore this group of 3 must be split up into 2 separate groups, one of them has to be a 1, the other one has to be a 2, this has to be part of the 2 because you can't put the 2 over here. And all 3, you know, there must be a separation between the 1 and the 2, so which means this must be a 2 and this must be the 1, which means we can get rid of this one. It's just that easy. Hooray, it's the letter N. And I like how every single puzzle shape has like a unique animation when you finish the puzzle. Okay. Alright. This game is so good. Oh, this game is so good. I have sat on like a 9-hour flight to Beijing once. A 9-hour flight to Beijing. I think it was 9 hours. I think it was 9 or 10 hours. A 9 or 10 hour flight to Beijing on a crowded plane with my DS playing Picross 3D. I've done that. Okay, so 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That entire column. 1, 2, 3, 4. The middle 3. These 3 cannot be part of the shape. This one must be part of the shape if this one is coloured in, which means we can safely get rid of these 2. Because this 3 has a circle around it, this one must not be part of the shape. Okay, this row only has a 1, so we can safely get rid of those. This one must be coloured in. This one must be coloured in, which finishes that row. This row is finished as well, since one of them it's coloured in. And since this 3 does not have a circle around it, we can safely get rid of this one, which means that those are part of the shape, and that one is not. Solved. What is that, a fire axe? A flag? What is that? It's an axe. God, so good. Little animation of the axe cutting down a tree. That's pretty good. Okay. Okay. So let's continue. Let's go boom, 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 boom. A 9. That's a 9. You can tell it's a 9 because the little dot placed, the dot is to signify the bottom of the number. And since the dot is on this end of the number, we can say that that is definitely a 9 and not a 6. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which means we can get rid of these. We can get rid of these. We can paint these in. Paint that in. These two are coloured in, so we can safely get rid of those. We can safely get rid of those. Colour those in. This is 2 has a circle around it, which means we can safely colour that one in and get rid of that. We can colour that one in, and we can get rid of that. Again, these puzzles that we're looking at the moment in this first group are very simple. Very, very simple. As you finish puzzles, the completed puzzle is added to a collection, and yeah, so we have some puzzles in a there's like a compass collection, there's an animal collection, there's a tools and woodworking collection, which I believe the axe is part of. And so you notice at the bottom of the screen, you see there's that silver box and that golden box. And that's telling you how many more stars you need to unlock those bonus puzzles, because they're not required to finish the level, but they're like extra puzzles you can unlock if you do well enough. So let's keep going. All right. This game's got such a good soundtrack. Like, so much care and attention has been applied to this. The little dude up the top there just doing his animations. It's just... You can fill all of these in. Fill all of these in. Alright, we can safely get rid of that one. We can safely colour those in. We can safely get rid of those two. So what we can do, to make it easier to reach certain parts of the puzzle, and of course once you start reaching puzzles that are more than 2 blocks thick, you need a way to be able to access the blocks in the middle of the puzzle. And so that's what these 2 little diamonds are on the edges of the screen. The blue diamond and the red diamond, these allow you to access a cross section of the puzzle. So it lets you get a better look of the puzzle from certain positions, and it's invaluable once you start getting to the bigger blocks that would otherwise have blocks in the middle that are completely cut off. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Okay, because these are 1s, we can safely get rid of those. Get rid of that. You should never have to guess That's the thing about Picross, is that you should never have to guess. A good Picross game should never require guesses. You should always be able to work out everything you need to from pure logic. A lot of the non-branded Picross games, the quote-unquote nonogram games that you see on iOS, aren't very good because a lot of those games require guessing in a lot of their puzzles, which is shitty. That's bad Picross puzzle design if you force a player to guess a solution. There we go. What is that, a TV? It's a TV. Nintendo did put out a sequel to this on the 3DS. There's a game called Picross 3D Round 2 for the 3DS, and while I like that game a lot, it is one of the few 3DS games that I actually like. I don't like it as much as the original. The Picross 3D Round 2, it adds some extra complexity to the puzzle solving that is completely unnecessary. Like, it feels like the dev team were under pressure to try and come up with a new thing. It's like, oh, how do we build upon the gameplay of the first one? And then they added this whole like curved corners mechanic. Like, it's not enough to it's not enough to remove blocks you don't need. Like, you have to figure out which blocks need to be, curved off and not just left as hard blocks. And it added an unnecessary level of complexity to the puzzles that didn't feel like, there's no other way of putting it. It just straight up didn't feel necessary. It didn't feel like it was really adding anything to the puzzle. I think they could have, they should have just released another collection of standard 3D Picross puzzles. Adding the whole curved block mechanics to that game was it's a misstep. It makes it less pure, and this game has the game as it is in this original is perfect. Their first attempt was their best attempt. This is perfect. You didn't need to do anything to it, which is a shame, because otherwise that game's pretty good. It's pretty good, but this one is better. Get rid of that whole center. So you can see what I mean. Without these little diamonds to let you see a cross section, normally there would be no way for you to access those middle blocks. So boom, 4, 5, boom. We just work our way down the middle, get rid of that one. I think we can do there. We can do there. Fill those 4 in. Get rid of that one. Get rid of those. Get rid of those. Oh, colour those in. And we're done. And I do believe this middle one is a 2 with a circle, which means we can safely get rid of these 4. And because those are gone, we can safely get rid of these, which means we can safely colour those in. Safely delete that. So we can safely colour those in. Colour that in and delete that. Colour that in. Oh, no. whoops, I accidentally held down the wrong direction on the D-pad. Whoops. Oh dear. Yeah, that happens. If you're not paying attention to what you're doing, you get cocky and you make accidental mistakes. That happens. So yeah, make sure, doubly sure you know which direction on the D-pad you are holding. Because that's a 2, we can get rid of that. And what is that? That's a shopping bag. It's a shopping bag or a handbag or a briefcase. It's a shopping bag. Cool. Excellent. Yeah. I'm going to put a bunch of stuff in this shopping bag, including a giant leek. It's just so... Yeah, because we made a mistake, we lost a star. We didn't get 3 stars for that one, which is fine. God, this game is so good. This game is so good. I did say when I first introduced this game that I believe it to be a perfect puzzle game. And I stand by that statement. There is no way you could reasonably improve upon this puzzle game. Like, I'm not saying this is better than standard Picross. I'm saying this is a fantastic version of Picross that is like... They tried to improve on it. They tried to improve on it in Picross 3D Round 2 and failed, in my opinion. They just made the game more annoying. I hope they do... see, we've just encountered the first of the square hints. So, like the circle hints, we now have numbers with squares around them, and the squares indicate that the coloured blocks in this column or row must be divided into 3 or more groups. So because this is a 3, that means it's 3 groups of 1. That's something you have to take into account. So colour that in, get rid of that, get rid of that. Colour that in, get rid of that, and colour that entire column in, we can get rid of that. Colour that one in, and colour this entire column in, and get rid of those. Which means we can colour that in, which means this column is done. So we can colour that in. And get rid of that. Colour that in. And that one. That one. We have 8 cubes coloured in on that column, which means we can safely get rid of those, which means we can colour those in, which means we can get rid of that one. Which means these 2 must be part of that 3 because it's a square, so it must be divided into 3. Which means we can get rid of that, which means we can safely get rid of these. It's a guitar or a melodica, sure. A melodica, okay. What is a melodica? That's like a flute. It's like it's like a mini keyboard that you blow into. It's a horrendous sounding instrument. Like someone somewhere thought, what if we added keyboard keys to a harmonica? That's what a melodica is, I believe. Okay, let's do this. Okay. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. We can colour that in, get rid of that. Get rid of that entire column and that entire column. Okay, because they're coloured in, we don't have to worry about accidentally deleting them. Do a cross section. This entire column can be coloured in. And that row, which means that we can safely get rid of these. Okay. Colour those in. So it must be those. We can get rid of those. Fill that in. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, I see. Fill that in. Which means that one must be able to get rid of that one. Which, get rid of that, we can colour that in and get rid of that. And get rid of that one, easy. This 6, with a circle, means that we can colour in these 5 because there's only one left and that makes 6. Which means we can safely get rid of that one and safely get rid of that one. Do you see what I mean? How you shouldn't have to make guesses? Like there was a point there where you could have made a pretty sound guess there. It got to a point there where it's like, okay, the chances that these blocks around the edge are part of the final shape is very low, but you should always resist. You should resist the urge to make guesses in Picross games. If the Picross games are designed well, there should always be 100% no doubt if you can read the numbers correctly. Cool. Cool. Yeah, we only got 2 stars on one. That's because I accidentally misclicked and clicked. Well, I didn't misclick. I held down the wrong direction on the D-pad because I forgot what direction I was holding. I held up instead of right. So let's look at the puzzle. Let's look at the bonus puzzles. You do not earn stars for the bonus puzzles, but they're still puzzles. The bonus puzzles are a little bit harder, like a tiny bit harder than any of the other puzzles in that level, but they're not that bad. Safely get rid of all of those. Yep. Safely get rid of that. Because there's a 2 circle, which means it must be these 2. Yep. Okay. Cool. Because this 4 with a circle must be split into only 2 groups. Because we already have 2 separate locations where 3 of the 4 blocks are coloured in, it cannot be part of this separated block up here, because then that would mean it'd be 3 groups, so we have to get rid of that. But we do not know if it's a group of 3 and a group of 1, or 2 groups of 2. That we do not know. Okay, there's a 2 with a circle here, so we can safely colour those in. Get rid of that. We can also safely get rid of this. For the same reason we got rid of that block in the 4 column. Oh, there's this 1. This 1 is safe, which means that 4 is complete. That base 1 is coloured in, so we can get rid of all of these. So this base 1 down here is coloured in, so we can get rid of this entire column here, because it's only got a 1 on it. And you can clear a column quickly by tapping the screen and holding. So tap and hold, and it will clear every single block below that block for as long as you hold the stylus down. Okay, which means colour that one in, which means this column is done, which means we can colour that one in, which means we can colour this one in. Colour this one in, delete those 2, which means we can colour this 3 in and finish that. This is the only one in this direction, so we can colour that in and delete this one, and we're done. This is a cactus. Yeah. What a great puzzle game. What a fantastically well-designed puzzle game. And it is recognisably Picross. It's not like they just took the Picross name and slapped it onto a completely unrelated puzzle. No, it is recognisably Picross. If you have pre-existing Picross skills, they translate. You know, you can, if you've been solving a lot of Picross puzzles, you can take those skills and then bring them into this game. And it's like a perfect like handheld game, because you can play it in because it's individual puzzles that take about between, shall we say, 5 and 15 minutes. Usually, sometimes even less than 5 minutes. It's like good bite-sized chunks. It's a really good game to like play on the bus or on a car ride, or on, like I said, if you have hours and hours to spare on a long plane ride. Oh my god. There are very, very, very few games that you could give this description, but this is a perfect video game. You cannot improve on this. Mechanically, you cannot improve on this. I don't think you can anywhere. I really don't think you can. It just works, and it works really well with a touch screen as well. I would struggle to think of a way that you could translate this game to like normal controls. I feel like a game like a 3D Picross game requires a touch screen. The very minimum a touch screen. I think to get the most out of it, you want a touch screen with a stylus, because you really need that like accuracy that only a stylus can give you. I feel like if you tried to do this with your finger or thumb, you are prone to fucking up. You're prone to accidentally touching the wrong cube and making mistakes. So this is another rare case of a game that not only like needs a touchscreen to be like fun, but also like really you want a stylus and a touchscreen. Which is sadly one of the reasons why I think it may be a long time before Nintendo ever, if they ever decide to do anything else with this series ever again. because of this game's reliance on accurate tapping, which you can only get with a stylus, and they're, you know, the Switch doesn't. It's not that kind of touchscreen. It's a capacitive touchscreen, not a resistive touchscreen. So the difference between a capacitive touchscreen and a resistive touchscreen, a resistive, I think it's called a resistive touchscreen. A resistive touchscreen is pressure sensitive. So it does not matter what shape the object is that pushes down on the touchscreen. It only matters that it is making contact and applying pressure, and that's what causes the sensor in the touchscreen to detect the touch. A capacitive touchscreen, which is what all modern phones have, and tablets like iPads have capacitive touchscreens. No, resistive. I've got them mixed up now. Capacitive touchscreens. They are actually heat sensitive. So they're not detecting the physical pressure of your finger. They are detecting no, it might not be. Is it heat? No, it's not heat. Is it heat or it's either heat or it's the object's ability to conduct electricity. I think it might be the second one. It's whatever's touching the screen. If that object has the ability to conduct electricity, I believe. Because if you drip some water onto the touchscreen of a modern phone or tablet, the phone or tablet thinks that it's being touched, right? If you push something plastic onto the surface of a modern phone or a modern touchscreen, it doesn't work because the plastic can't conduct electricity. So I believe that is actually what the screen is looking for. Which is, you can get styluses. You can buy styluses that work that way, but they're not as precise as a standard stylus for an older style touchscreen. So they can be more precise than a finger, but not as precise as you might still need them to be. So anyway, Nintendo has found themselves in a position with a piece of hardware that does not work in... It has a touchscreen, but it's not the correct style of touchscreen that would enable a game like this to work as well as you would want it to work. There we go, that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe the next Switch, if their next hardware generation is a successor to the Switch, which it probably is. The Switch is incredibly popular, has made a lot of money for Nintendo. If I was a betting man, and I'm not, I would put money down that the next major piece of Nintendo hardware is probably just going to be a Switch again, but more powerful. It's possible that the next generation of Switch hardware may have a touchscreen that supports more traditional styluses, but I don't see it happening personally. Oh well. Oh well. Right. There we go. That's the key. That's the key to this whole puzzle right there. I think. Shit, maybe not. Okay. Let's work our way around. Oh, here it is. can safely get rid of these. Safely get rid of those. That is complete. Get rid of that one and we're done. So that's some kind of beast. It's a hippo. It's hippopotamus. The fact that each one of these solved puzzle shapes has like a unique animation to it is just like adds like so much personality to the game. Cool. Alright, we will do 1 or 2 level 2 puzzles and then we'll call it a video. Oh wow. Considering the puzzles that we've just done, this seems a little easy. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Interesting. What am I missing here? 3. There it is. Those 3. Get rid of that one. Which we can get rid of that one. Which means we can colour those in. Get rid of those 2, and we've broken through. We've solved the puzzle. The letter O. Okay, that goes into that collection. That one must be filled in, and that middle one must be filled in. Which means, oh no, that's a square, so that has to be separated. So it must be that one. Okay. Okay, okay. Get rid of that one. Fill those in. Get rid of that one. It's a letter S. It's another shape for our compass collection, I believe. Yep. Let's just jump to H. Let's just... What is the hardest puzzle in this collection? And we'll end the video on this one, shall we? Okay. Ooh, this is a beefy one. Got our first 10. Since this is exactly 10 blocks long, we can safely colour all of this in. Cool. It's 5 blocks deep, which means we can safely colour that in. Only that one is. Okay, we can get rid of these. Right. Okay. Making headway. Because that's a 9, we can safely colour that one in, but not the very... Oh no, we can, because there's nothing else to that one, which means we can get rid of this one, which means we can colour that one in, which means we can get rid of this one. Yeah. Oh, no, I misclicked. I accidentally clicked the 2 instead of the 1. Shit. Oh well. You see, if it's this easy to misclick with a mouse or a standard stylus, imagine how easy it is to fuck up with a finger on a modern touchscreen. You really could not effectively do this game on a modern touchscreen because it would require a finger. And fingers are just, by their very nature, not as accurate as a thin plastic stylus. Okay. Get rid of that one. Okay. Boom. Oh, there's a 0. I see a 0. Get out of here. No, wait, no, it's a 9. Oh, you see what I mean? I'm not paying attention. I'm rushing. I'm rushing, so I'm making dumb mistakes. Like an idiot. Like a fool. I wasn't paying attention. I just saw the 9 and thought, oh, this thing is 10 blocks long, which means the end one must be deleted, without realising that I'd already taken one off the end. Ugh. Damn. That one's safe. Okay, get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Which means we can safely colour those in. We can safely delete these 2, which means we can colour that one in, which means we can get rid of these 3. Colour that one in and get rid of that one. And colour that one in, so we can get rid of that one. And we're done. Yeah. You need to be, like, slow and patient in this game, otherwise you do make mistakes. And it's really annoying when you make mistakes as well, because, you know, it's like, oh, I could have had a perfect, but damn, my damn overconfident brain. Overconfidence. Anyway. Oh, I love Picross 3D. It is a perfect puzzle game. And it is my personal absolute favourite game for the Nintendo DS. It is a wonderful game. What a wonderful game this is. Oh my god. And there are a lot of levels. I think there's like... Does it say on the back of the box how many levels are in this? How many puzzles are in this? I think there's hundreds. I think there are literally hundreds of puzzles in this game. Like, yeah, over 350 puzzles, spanning a range of difficulty levels from beginner to expert. So yeah. There's a lot of puzzles in this thing. You can spend hours and hours and hours playing this game and just get lost in it. It's wonderful, a wonderful game. Oh. Great stuff, wonderful stuff. So let's, for the 10th and final time, let us go over to go over to the top 10 list, where I can safely say, hang on, go to properties, that Picross 3D is my #1 Nintendo DS game. That's right. That's right. Who could have foreseen that a puzzle game would come in at #1? So yeah, from starting at number 10. Number 10 is Sonic Rush, a great and well-designed fast-paced platformer that makes excellent use of the DS's dual screens. Advance Wars Dual Strike, which is my second favourite Advance Wars game after Advance Wars 2 for the GBA. An excellent, excellent, excellent turn-based strategy game. WarioWare Touched, which is the only, I believe, hang on, the only launch title on this list, and it is secretly the best launch game for the DS. I know a lot of you out there are big fans of Mario 64 DS, but I think WarioWare is just, it is unique. WarioWare Touched can only be played on a DS, whereas Super Mario 64 was very much designed for another console. It's a port. It's a cool port of a really good game, but it is just a port of a game that was, you know, it's not a game that you can only play on a DS. Hotel Dusk, an extremely charming and well-written classic adventure game, and one of the very few and rare examples of a classic adventure game developed by a Japanese developer, which is something that almost never happens. Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, I think it is my favourite Castlevania for the DS and one of my all-time favourite Metroidvania games. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, I think it is the game, or at least one of the games, that introduced Western gamers to the idea that a visual novel is actually worth playing. You know, I think I went into this a bit more in that video, but you know, before Phoenix Wright came out, visual novels were ultra niche in Western markets. They were ultra niche. Very, very, very few people had even heard of a visual novel before the Phoenix Wright games came out. So these games trailblazed an entire genre in new markets that would have otherwise not really given a shit about that entire genre. Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, an excellent narrative puzzle game. That is a puzzle game with a strong story element to it. So you're not just solving puzzles for the sake of the puzzles. There's there's characters, there's situations, there's context. It's a very well written story with extremely unique characters that deserves to be played. If you've never played it, if you've never played this game and you have access to Steam, pick up the Steam re-release, the Steam remaster. It's so good. It's so good. This game deserves your love, please. In third place, Elite Beat Agents, a fantastic rhythm game that unfortunately has been abandoned by Nintendo. And I do not see Nintendo picking up either Elite Beat Agents or Osu Oendan anytime soon, if ever again. So we may never, ever, ever get a follow-up to this game. Ever. And it's a gigantic shame because this game is so wonderful and so charming. Ugh, breaks your heart. And then number 2, Rhythm Paradise / Rhythm Heaven, a very, very charming, very, very well-designed and addictive alternative rhythm game from the creators of WarioWare that is like Elite Beat Agents, almost completely ignored by Nintendo at this point. We have not seen a Rhythm Heaven Paradise game since the 3DS, and I believe the 3DS game was just a rehash of rhythm challenges from previous Rhythm Heaven Games, I believe. So really hope Nintendo come back to this series at some point because it's wonderful. And then at number 1, we have a perfect video game, Picross 3D. Cannot be improved upon. The sequel on the 3DS proved that. Just a wonderful game that you can play in short, brief chunks or over like hours and hours if you have to. It's just, it's wonderful. So charming, so creative, so ingenious, so, well designed. Wonderful and perfect. I love it. Picross 3D. It's great. And so, whoops, where am I? Here I am. That's it. That's it for this, that's it for this mini-series for now. Like I said, I may, at some point in the future, I don't know when, revisit the DS. There may be some games here that you might be you may have been expecting me to talk about that I didn't. I'm very sorry if I did not bring up a specific game that you have very fond memories of. There is a selection of games here that I was thinking about putting in. So I know I did bring up certain games that weren't on my top 10 list but I also liked. For example, I brought up Super Mario DS and Project Rub as both really good games. Trauma Center is a really good game. Resident Evil DS is a really good and interesting port of original Resident Evil, you know. Professor Layton is a very, well-made puzzle game with a ton of personality. Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training is a interesting puzzle game with a lot of personality. 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors is a really good, if slightly long-winded visual novel. Cop the Recruit, maybe not a great game, but it's a very impressive tech demo for the hardware. Aliens Infestation, a really good Metroidvania. And of course, Infinite Space, a really fun sci-fi RPG with a shit story. And of course, there are other games that I wanted to, did not get mentioned, that very nearly made it into a video. Games like Henry Hatsworth, a great puzzle platformer. Nintendogs, which in my mind fills very much the same role as a Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training, is maybe not the most incredible game, but it is incredibly important to the story of the DS as a whole. It was an unbelievably successful title, sold millions of copies. Tetris DS is a really good version of Tetris, one of the best home versions of Tetris from the last 20 years. Super Princess Peach is a very interesting and unique platformer. Kirby's Power Paintbrush is a very interesting platformer that I believe was called Kirby's Canvas Curse in the States, in the US, I think it was called Canvas Curse in the US. In Europe, it came out as Power Paintbrush. Another honorable mention would be Mario Kart DS. I guarantee at least, a couple of you were expecting me to bring up Mario Kart DS at some point. I like Mario Kart DS. I like it. It's one of the best Mario Karts, but it is not on my top 10. What other games could I bring up? What other games are like revered original DS games? I'm trying to think. I think I mentioned it before. The DS port of Chrono Trigger is considered really good. It's considered one of the better versions of that game, I guess, even though it is just a port of a Super Nintendo game. I've heard incredibly good things about it. What was that other RPG I brought up? I don't remember. It's like an RPG set in modern day Tokyo. I don't remember what it was called. I mentioned it earlier. The name completely escapes me right now, but that is also a really good game. That is another game that has received a recent remaster in like the last few years. So, but a lot of these games feel like that they weren't successful enough to be re-released on a new platform, or their core mechanics are too heavily tied to the DS's hardware. You know, games like Trauma Center, I feel like could not work on a system that does not utilize, you know, a stylus controlled touchscreen, or, you know, extensive motion controls. There was the Wii game, but that used, you know, I don't think the Switch Joy-Cons are up to the task, or the Switch touchscreen is up to the task. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. It really depends how they design the game. But I personally don't think Trauma Center could really be done on a modern platform. Same with Picross 3D. The mechanics are so reliant on an ultra precise touchscreen that I really don't think you could pull it off in a satisfying and non-frustrating way on a modern touchscreen. Yeah. Hotel Dusk is a wonderful game, but it's sold terribly. So I really don't think Nintendo's interested in bringing that back anytime soon. It's a shame. There are so many forgotten gems. I hesitate to use the term. But the term "forgotten gem" is such a cliche for people to say, but I truly believe it. There's so many fantastic gems, fantastic games that feel like they are locked on the DS because of either they weren't successful enough, or they weren't, you know, the mechanics don't transfer easily to other platforms. That the only real way, and even with the access to emulators, the only real way to play a lot of these games effectively is with original DS hardware, because a mouse is just not doing it. You know, games like Elite Beat Agents, games like Rhythm Paradise, you know, just feel like you need a stylus. A stylus is capable of a level of dexterity, speed and dexterity that a PC mouse is just not. Okay. So if you want to play like those games effectively, you know, you need to track down a DS or a 3DS at least and play them on there, which means tracking down original hardware, which means tracking down, you know, a physical copy of the game, which is not always easy or cheap, which sucks, because, you know, people think that piracy and emulators are a catch-all solution to game preservation. Sometimes they are not. The ability to run a game in an emulator doesn't mean you can necessarily play the game. You know, the Wii is a perfect example. Do you have any idea? I've looked into this. Do you have any idea how much of a headache it would be not to run a Wii game in Dolphin? I've got Dolphin, I've done it, I've played Wii games, but to play the Wii games effectively as they were intended, you would have to... Well, first of all, you would have to track down an actual Wiimote, and then you'd have to get a specific type of Bluetooth adapter for your PC. Then you'd have to pair that Wiimote to that Bluetooth adapter. and do all sorts of weird, like, then you'd have to calibrate that controller within the emulator, which apparently is not a straightforward process. There are a lot of like hoops you have to jump through in order to play a Wii game in 2023 the way that those games were designed to be played. And preservation is not just about running the software, it's about playing the games how the creators intended them to be played. Nintendo loves their control gimmicks, right? But a lot of people, I feel like not many people have fully understood the downside to that in terms of game preservation. Running the software is not enough. You have to be able to play the damn things. And there are just so many Wii games that just do not play well on Dolphin unless you jump through a million hoops to get an actual Wiimote working. It's a nightmare. And the DS is not as a serious case as the Wii, but what the hell is that flashing? There's some kind of flashing light going on outside my window. I apologise for that. Let me cover that up with my head. But yeah, a lot of people don't think about it. A lot of people don't think about it. Just because you can run a game doesn't mean you can play it. You know? Anyway, that's my rant over. That's my game preservation is more than just running the software rant. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this mini-series. I will see you again, hopefully, relatively soon. I don't know exactly what I'll be doing next, but I hope whatever I come up with, you will enjoy. And so, that is all from me. My name is The Real Blue Dragon, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.